In the 1992 PC game Stunt Island, the campaign mode is called the Stunt Pilot of the Year contest. My name is Doug, and today I'm going to show you how to successfully fly all 32 stunts and to win the contest. Even though the game can get incredibly complex, the easiest way to get started and have fun in the game is to fly some stunts. If you played Stunt Island back when it came out, you've probably flown a few of these. Now, there are 32 stunts in the contest, and to win the contest you have to complete 26 stunts and you have to be ahead in money. Through the years I've learned how to fly most of them, and I got a little help from things like the Stunt Island strategy guide. As you'll see, I like to find different and unusual ways to complete the stunts, and if they seem a little too easy, I might try hot dogging a little bit. If you have the patched version of the game, you have an easy and hard flight model. I like to use the hard flight model because I feel like it's a little bit more realistic. So that's what I'll be using today. In addition, I use the mouse because that's how I learned to use Stunt Island, and for the most part that's how I've always flown the planes. I think it really works pretty well. Now, here are a few general tips before we get into the contest. First of all, know how to fly the airplanes. There's really no substitute for just getting into the airplane at the airfield and figuring out how to fly it around. For example, if you're doing a stunt with the Curtis Jenny, see how it performs at different power settings. See what happens at high bank angles. In a lot of the stunts, the airplanes require a light touch. This helps you figure out how to put the airplane where you want it at the correct speed. My next tip is learn how to use the independent rudder and aileron. You access these by going into the independent rudder option in Preferences, Alt-P. If you turn independent rudder off, that means you're using independent aileron. So when I have that off, and if I use the right mouse button, I can roll without moving, without changing my heading in my yaw. And similarly, if I switch over to the independent rudder on, I can point my nose at a place on the horizon, right click, and move it without rolling. Next, use the best views. In a lot of stunts, when you get into them, you'll have this cockpit view, which looks pretty nice, but the cockpit covers up most of the screen. So a lot of times you'll want to press F9 to get the full screen pilot view, or press F5 for the spotter plane view. Some of the spotter plane views are kind of cockeyed to start out with, so press F6 and you can adjust the spotter plane view. Move the mouse to move it around, click and drag to zoom in and out to get the right view that you want. If you really want to get money and win, make sure that you complete the stunt in the fewest number of takes possible. You'll notice that the stunts that you complete in one take, you get quite a bit more money for. It may be helpful to go into set design and take a look at the set that you're working on. For example, if you're having trouble with the bomb the surface-to-air missile site stunt, open up the set in the set designer and look at all the invisible collision windows. In this case, there's a couple of collision windows that you have to fly through. You can locate these, adjust them, and make them visible so that when you fly the stunt you can see exactly where you need to fly. And now I see that I need to be a little bit higher than I am right now in order to complete the stunt successfully. And finally, make sure to practice the stunts outside the contest. When you first come into the game and it asks if you want to be in the competition, say no. Then when you go to the stunt coordinator, you'll be able to fly any stunt that you want. Doing so will not affect your pilot and will not affect your rankings. Alright, let's get started on the competition. I'm new to the island. I'll put in my name and there's lots of nicknames. I always like the nickname Bailout, so we'll go with that. I'm not going to do any editing. And let's go straight to the stunt coordinator.
Okay, Bailout. Congratulations. You made it to the show.
Okay, we'll begin with scene 1, stunt 1. I'm just going to go directly in order. And if you played Stunt Island at all, you've probably done scene 1. And it's pretty straightforward. You can't go over 200 feet. The problem is that it takes so long to catch up to the airplane. So I'm going to show you an alternate way to do this. We'll go full power. Put in some flaps that will take us, help us take off sooner. I'm just going to angle to the right here. rotate, and just start firing right there. Take off, and there we go. Shot the plane and we didn't even have to chase it down.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm just going to cancel all these takes and not save any of it. And let's go right on to stunt number 2.
Okay, bailout. You're in the big
Okay,
league
land
now,
on the
Aaron.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Should be a cakewalk.
This one's pretty straightforward. There's a couple different ways you can land before the first tower or after. And we'll try to land before the first one. I'm going to go with a spotter plane view on this. Gives you a better idea. The 172 is pretty easy to fly. If you get turning too hard and too much bank, it gets really hard to control, so you have to kind of watch that. I'm going to start slowing down here, reducing throttle. I'm going to go ahead and hit B for brake. That way when we actually land, brakes will be put on. Okay. This is the tricky part where we have to bank it just the right amount. Oof. So tricky. All right. See if I can come right down here. Fortunately, it does not detect when you hit some of those wires. Okay, now can I pull up in time? Oh, nope. That was a crash. Didn't like that. Alright, let's try this again. Got flaps in, got brakes in. Reduce power, hopefully not too much. Alright, this is looking a little better. Good approach. Just have to keep it. Looks good. Just have to make sure I pull up so I don't crash. There we go. Very nice. That ought to do.
Cut. Awesome.
Okay. I'll go and do the
Okay,
third
bailout.
stunt
Now try
before I
something
look at
harder.
my ledger and see what place I'm in. Barnstorming. This is kind of the classic stunt.
See you when you're
You
done.
play Stunt Island, you got to do this one.
What?
In fact, it's fun and it's pretty easy. And so what I like to do on this one is do it inverted. So make sure independent rudder is off. That way, oh man, I got some problems here. Rolling. Ugh. This is not going to be good. Let's see if I can salvage it. Ooh.
Cut.
Well, I'm not doing very well on
Let's
this
try
one.
it again.
Trying to hot dog and it's not working out too well. Let's try again. There we go, that's better. Okay, but it's pretty simple. You just fly over the combines. Make sure you don't get too low. Fly right through. There you
Great
go.
flying, kid. Awesome.
Okay, so I've only done one of the first 3 in one take, so I'm not doing that great. But let's look at the standings. I'm in 4th place, not bad. When you start with a lower stunts, you really don't get a whole lot of money right away, but don't worry about it. Just
Okay,
keep going and
bailout.
you can catch
You're
up.
in the big league
Okay,
now, Airman.
pick up a convict on Alcatraz, and it's 180 feet off the ground, minimum of 110 miles per hour. So
See you when you're done.
I'll go ahead and get started on this one. Only thing I don't like about this one is it takes a while to get to Alcatraz. It's kind of a long stunt. There's a few stunts like that. But we'll make sure we're at full power and we just head towards Alcatraz. I've tried this with different spotter plane views and somehow they always just seem to mess me up. So I'm going to try just a straight up pilot view. The hard part is just judging where exactly you're at there. So there's several stunts where you have this really tiny window where you have to be too low and you crash, too high and you miss. And this is one of those. One other interesting thing about this stunt is that as you get really close to Alcatraz, the detail changes and it gives you more detail. But the funny thing is the tower actually appears higher until you get close, and then the tower shows its real size, which is a little lower. You'll see that there, right there. So Make sure you stay on target. Don't want any last minute changes. That's kind of the key there. Alright, we're looking pretty good. See if I can get this right. Get it? Alright, not bad.
Cut. Awesome.
Okay, pretty happy with that. Let's go back and see what's next.
Okay, bailout.
Alright, scene number 5 is catch a balloon. This one is pretty easy, it just takes a while. It's a red and white balloon.
Should be a cakewalk.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So, first thing is go full power. It's my first go-to in almost every stunt. Just go full power, get there faster, get the stunt over quicker. And it's a little tricky to find the balloon until you get closer. Then it's pretty obvious. I think it's right in the middle, just a red and white one, and you hit it right below, right at the basket. So let's see, where's it at? I think it's maybe this one right up here. All right. Stay on target. There we go. Here's a little beep. That means that you got it. We're gonna go right over here towards the castle. There's our nice little balloon we've got. Okay, and wait for the beep. Alright, there it is. The balloon is back there. And we'll just bring it on around. I think, yep, guns are selected, so I'm going to reduce my power slightly, give myself a little time to find it. Alright, where's the balloon? There it is. Okay, and then we just find it and shoot it. There we go. This one is pretty easy as far as the stunts go.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at our standings now. We should be sitting pretty good. Alright, we're in third place now, not too far behind first. And so far, it's going pretty well.
Okay, bailout. Time for you to stop flying those weenie stunts and do something with guts.
Okay, next one is Castlestorm. In my opinion, this is one of the more difficult of the earlier stunts. No real restrictions here. You just have to fly along the side of the castle, not in it. So the tricky part is you have to come around and come through that door, and you can't have too much energy or you're going to be diving for the door and it's hard to control. Can't have too little energy or you'll come through the door and you won't be able to make the catapult. So it's really a balancing act there. So I like to fly right along the moat here at the side of the castle, and as we get closer I'll pull up a little bit to decrease my speed, but I think we want to be somewhere right in here. The hang glider can float along pretty nicely at about 35 miles an hour or so. So, let's see how we're looking on the left side. Okay, I think this is about where we need to be. I'll use a spotter plane from here on out. If anything, I might have too little energy. We'll just have to see. Alright, so here in just a moment. Alright, this looks good. We'll start the turn. We got to keep the turn coming. Actually, I might have too much energy. Alright. Got to use a light touch to come right through the door. It's looking good so far. Just got to keep it and not crash. Okay, 35 miles an hour. Just got to keep this right here. And it looks like I timed it perfectly. And you might have seen there that the hang glider disappears for a second when you come through the door. That's some kind of sorting issue that you see in Stunt Island sometimes. I don't remember it on original hardware. It might be a DOS box thing, but it's a little disconcerting. But just go with it, and it works out okay.
Okay, bailout.
All right, we're at number 7. This is one of my favorite stunts. So you land a Piper Cherokee in town. You turn left at the police roadblock, and you park at the hamburger stand in a specific place, which I'll show you. There's actually an alternate way to do this, that you don't have to make the turn. If you're really good, you can just land directly at a very low speed in front of the roadblock and go in there. Okay, went full speed here. I like to just barrel into town. I'm going to turn my brakes on so they'll be ready when I hit in town. I'm going to start reducing speed. Flaps are on, and we'll go 10% power and land it. Ooh, it's going to be close. That's a little more than I would have liked. Okay, brakes are off. Yeah, that works. If you're really good, you can just hit it to where you make the turn, keep it coming on around, and you don't stop at all. Alright, so it's the it's third stall from the right here, but it's in the second row.
Great flying,
so you just wait till you hear "Great Flying Kid" right there, and you're in. Okay, that one is fun. Especially fun when you come into town full power like that. I enjoy that. Alright, shoe planes in formation. This one is really interesting. So you have to shoot all the planes but the lead planes. And there's a trick to this I never knew back in the day. And the trick is that you're going way too fast. So immediately you have to cut your power and put some flaps in. Let's try 20% flaps. Because normally you just fly on by and then you're trying to find the planes and all that. It's just no good. Alright, I went back to 30% power, but if you do this just right, you'll come up along the planes and you can just start firing. So there's the lead one, we'll skip it, so we get this one, skip that one, and the last two.
Great flying, kid.
Piece of cake as long as you slow down some.
Cut. Awesome.
Alright, let's go to the housing and take a look at our ledger and our standings. So standings, we're in first place now at $18,000. Let's go to ledger, and we made some good money there. All these stunts where I'm doing them in one take, that's helping a lot. You don't get a whole lot for these early stunts, but you can see the amounts are starting to increase. So that one really got me.
Geez, thanks a lot. You're too good. Now all the directors will expect that kind of flying.
Alright. Let's go back to the stunt coordinator and see what we can do. Alright, crash into 747's engine. This one is tricky. You can't go too high, you can't go too low. Alright. Spotter plane view is interesting because it's really zoomed in compared to all the other views. But it's kind of nice because it helps you line it up. I went full power here. I just like to get to the scene of the crash faster, I guess. Alright. Corsair is pretty responsive, but you have to try and stay on target as close as you can until you get almost there, and then you just kind of scrape your wingtip. There's an invisible sphere there. You don't want any last minute changes if at all possible. I'm doing alright. I just missed it. It's so hard because you don't want to hit that. You don't actually want to hit the wing or you'll crash. So let's try it again. Ooh, this is looking nice. Perfect. There we go. Somehow I was able to stay on track pretty nicely there, so no last minute adjustments needed, and it worked out great.
Awesome. Now try something even harder.
Alright, stunt 10. This may be the easiest stunt on here. I like what it says here. Because these meteors were expensive and time consuming to make, only a few were created. I think you only get 3 stunts. But if you need 3 stunts, you really need to practice on this game more.
Should be. What?
Okay. Make sure you got your crosshairs on there, and then just aim for the hotel, and easy money. Okay, I think that one really helps, if I remember right. That one really helps you get money. But let's see. All right, we're at almost $24,000. So we're in first place, but there's a few people not too close behind us. Or not too far behind us, I should say.
Okay, bailout. Time for you to stop flying those weenie
Okay,
stunts.
time to
and do
stop flying the
something with
weenie
guts.
stunts. All right, blasted Jeep.
See you when you're...
Okay, this one is
What?
pretty easy if you know how to fly the zero. Just use a light touch on the controls. And if you know where to aim, which I believe is a little to the right of the windmill. And then it's just you put your crosshairs down here. Make sure to lead the Jeep plenty. And there you go.
Cut.
Nice quick stunt.
Awesome.
And we're on to the next one.
Okay, bailout. Now
Okay,
try something
bomber
even harder.
duck. This is interesting. Based on shocking 1992 research.
Should be...
I always have trouble with this one for some reason. I know the strategy guide recommends using the F7, the bomb sight view, but I always have trouble with that. I think because it's so hard to fly with that. When you're flying with that, you can't tell which way you're going. Interestingly, I read in an interview that the duck was one of the new objects, or one of the early objects that were created with their new shading algorithm or something to that effect, and they just wanted to see if it would work, so they tried a duck and they said, hey, it works. And then somebody came up with the idea late at night that, hey, instead of having the duck drop bombs, let's have it drop eggs. Oh yeah, it's got the retractable landing gear too. Gotta love it. Okay, so what I'd like to do on this one, it's a little tricky finding the police cars, but it's just a little off to the right of where they start you. As we get lower, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, and I'm just going to try and bomb from this view. If you hit a little too, okay, I'm going to start reducing my throttle just a bit, slow down some. Can't go too early and can't go too late. So here we go. I can't even see the police car from this view. Uh-oh, too early. All right, let's try again. Okay, I'm going to try a slightly different strategy this time. We'll go with the pilot view here. I noticed on the spotter plane view it blocked the police car. So let's try and see if this helps any. It was too early last time, so let's see. Okay, I'm going to reduce throttle some, slow things down just a bit. Alright, here we go. Get nice and low. Alright, I think that did it.
Great flying, kid. Cut. Awesome.
Okay, I will take that. Looks like my second egg might have gone too far forward, but apparently that didn't matter much. Okay, let's look at the ledger now. Alright, so we're getting some pretty good payouts here. Standings are, I'm close to 30,000, so it should not be a problem to win at this rate. Just have to keep flying the stunts.
Okay, bailout. Now
Okay,
try
scene
something even
13.
harder.
This is probably my favorite stunt. You have to land on the blue building
See you when you're done.
in the pit special, which is one of my favorite planes. And I like how it's just a quick setup.
What?
You don't have to fly forever. And the best way to do this is what's called, I guess, being behind the power curve or hanging on the prop. And Stunt Island simulates this really well. So what you want to do is have a low speed, high angle of attack, and high power setting. So you have to get it slowed down first. Okay, I'm going to hit brake right now, so we have the brake. Okay, so now we've got low speed. I'm going to bring the power back in. So we're just barely climbing over, and once we get up here, cut the power. Hope I don't crash here. All right, that wasn't perfect, but that works pretty well.
Cut. Awesome.
So that's a fun way to do that. If you get it just right, you can be at almost zero speed and be right over the edge of the building. And it's, yeah, it's a great feeling.
Okay,
I love that
bailout.
stunt.
Time for you to stop flying
Okay,
those
save the
weenie
UN.
stunts and do
So
something with
we're gonna shoot a couple of vehicles
Should be a
and then cut around the building. This one is not too tough as long as you don't get out of control. So like a lot of stunts, just use a light touch. We'll keep the original power settings there. Keep a little bit of altitude so we can be looking down when we shoot. Alright. That should take care of it. Oh, wow. Almost got out of control there. See if I can cut around the building now. Alright. Guess that worked out. I was a little worried there for a second, but it worked okay. By the way, I'm not viewing any of the the stunt films, so make sure that you look at my channel, and I have most of the stunt films available there now, and I'll put the rest of them on at a later time. I'm just going through here. Okay, so hit the catering truck.
See you when you're done.
This one is really pretty straightforward. I don't remember ever having trouble with it. I just like the pilot view on this one. You know, as I say that, never having trouble,
Let's try it again.
I had trouble there. My problem there was that I didn't turn enough. You have to get in front of the catering truck. Wow, this is humbling. But I think we'll get it this time. 4th time's a charm? Something like that. There we go. Well, I probably won't be making a whole lot of money on this one, but at least I didn't get fired. Let's go back and see how we're looking. Alright, we're over 5,000 ahead of the next competitor. Okay, this one I am actually not going to complete because for whatever reason, it appears to be a DOSBox issue. It always says you're too early. Even if the train is about to come all the way through the tunnel, it says too early. And I've tried it on my original game files. I've tried it on game files from Steam and Good Old Games, and same thing. So I don't know what's up with that, but unfortunately I have not found a way to complete this successfully. Even when I load it into the set designer, I can't do it. So the only trick is you have to reduce your throttle just a little bit to make sure that you don't get there too soon. Okay, land before the armored truck. This one is pretty simple. It just takes a little while to set up. Go full power here and turn this way. Interestingly, the way this works is there's a collision window or sphere right in front of the armored truck, and all you have to do is hit that, so you don't actually have to land. And in fact, I'll roll a video now if I have it, of one where I did it inverted and it still worked. So
because I was inverted.
okay, I'm going to start slowing down here so I don't get too far ahead. Throttle's on about 60 right now. One thing that gets tricky here is you on the spotter plane view, you can lose sight of these vehicles. Okay. Alright. Go flaps in. Nope, I'm not sure the pit special actually has flaps, but in this game it does.
Cut. Awesome.
Okay, I didn't even have time to switch to my rear camera view there, but apparently it worked. Alright.
Okay, bailout. Time for you to stop flying those weenie stunts and do something
Scene
with guts.
18, fly down an aqueduct. This one is challenging.
Should be a cake.
So the idea is you look at the towers. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Spotter plane view. I'm going to slow down to 80% throttle. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go with my front view.
Cut.
While I was switching to front view, I was not doing flying. Okay, we'll do front view, no cockpit, slow down to 80%. Anyway, the idea is that since there's a tower on the right here, you fly under the right side of the aqueduct. Now I think it should be possible to just stay under the aqueduct the whole time. I don't really like to do that. I've had trouble with that. So I fly up when at all possible. And it's just so tight in here, it's tricky to do. Oh, there's towers on both sides here, so we'll go down the middle. And then the towers get closer together, so you have less time to set things up. Just kind of have to get in the groove. And if you can do that, you'll be successful. We'll stay in the aqueduct for this one, since the next one is on the right. Alright, this is going to be tricky, so pull out. Fortunately, Pit Special is pretty responsive. Great plane to fly. Okay, so now we have 2 on the right, and then we'll have 1 in the center where we do not have time to go above. We just have to fly right down. So start my turn here. See if we can shoot the gap. All right, not bad, not bad.
Great flying, kid. Cut. Okay, bailout.
So I believe we completed
now, Airman.
17 stunts now. We only have to do 26. Okay, scene 19, crash through a billboard. The hard thing about this one is you can't go any higher than 40 feet. And you start to the right of the first truck in the convoy, and then you have to kind of alternate between them. So we have to get down, and the Cherokee it's a little doggy. It's not the best to fly. I'm going to go into preferences, turn my independent rudder on. I know the strategy guides suggested this. I haven't had the best luck with independent rudder, but we'll try it. Power setting, I'm actually going to go with a little more power. But I'll tell you something interesting about this. You always have to stay below 40 feet. But there are giant spheres around each truck, on each side of the truck, and that's what detects if you're on the side. You don't actually have to be all the way over. As long as you're more or less on that side of the truck, that's all you need to be. Man, but the Cherokee can be so touchy. Just a little too much and you're too high, a little too much and you're too low, or you're off to the side, you're banking too much. I don't know, maybe more throttle helps with responsiveness. We'll see. That was close. A little too close. Okay, well, we're getting there. Okay, so we need to be right on this one. Left on this one, then we crash through the billboard. I haven't actually used independent rudder yet. Ooh. In fact, I just tried there, and it almost put me out of control. Maybe some of y'all are better at using the independent rudder than I am. But also I'm using a mouse. Might be a little easier with a joystick, I'm not sure. I never really played Stunt Island with a joystick, except for just a few times. Yeah, the joystick helps a lot when you want to hold all the way back and just keep it there. With the mouse, that's a little tricky. But anyway, okay. As long as we keep right on track with the billboard, shouldn't be too much of a problem. And here we go.
Great flying, kid. Cut. Awesome.
Okay, on to scene 20. And let's go to our housing and look at our ledger. See if we've had any big money stunts. Not really. You know, even these single take ones, they haven't really done that great. I know when you do, if you do the risk option, let me show you that at the stunt coordinator.
Okay, bailout.
Risk is going to give you one of the later stunts, and some of those have really high first stunt bonuses. But since I'm going through numerically, I will show you those later. Okay, fly inverted past it, Jenny. This one is tricky. No greater than 10 feet from the Jenny. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is go inverted. Turn independent rudder off. That means you're using independent aileron. And go inverted. You might have to practice this some. Sometimes I can do it pretty well. That was pretty good. But it can be tricky to go inverted without either losing a lot of altitude or getting way off to the side. Okay. You know, on this one I've tried the spotter plane view too, and this view, it's really hard to know exactly where to be. So we'll try it and see how it goes. This is looking pretty good. Ah, a little too good apparently.
Let's try it again. What? Cut. Let's try it again. What?
First time crashed, second time I was more than 10 feet away. It's tricky. There we go.
Great flying, kid. Cut. Awesome.
I was a little far away on that one, so I had to come back at the last minute, but it worked out okay.
Okay, bailout. Time for you to
All
start
right.
flying those weenies.
Scene 21, land on the
Something with
goalpost.
guts.
So we're landing on the goalpost at less than 8
Good
miles an
man.
hour, and we're
Wow.
landing at in the spotter plane view here. The football field is right down here. We're landing at the closest uprights. Now the paraglider takes forever to get down, but it's really important that you know how to fly one. And how you do that is basically just push forward to increase your speed and push backwards to decrease it. Now when you get closer, we want to decrease it. I like to go high speed because that helps us lose altitude faster. And here in a minute I'll switch to our F7 bomb targeting view. But I'm going to stay on this one as long as I can, just so I can get down. So we're going to be the other side. Okay, 1,500 feet. I'm coming down pretty nicely now. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to go hold down on the mouse. Our speed is now decreasing. And as our speed gets low enough, we'll see that shadow is right below the bomb targeting view. And what this means is that, there comes the shadow. And what this means is that we're going straight down at that point. And so from then it just gets pretty simple. But it takes a bit of practice to figure out how to go exactly where you want to go in the paraglider, and how to keep your speed at what you want it to be. Because the problem is that if you're out of position and you have to go somewhere to go forward, then your speed increases and you can get going too fast. But once you figure out how to fly the paraglider, there's 2 paraglider stunts and they're both pretty simple. You just have to hit a mark essentially. Okay, you can see our speed is staying right at 0. To twist around sometimes to keep on target. Alright, coming down pretty nicely though. Just coming straight down, and oh, that was a little off the mark, but I guess it worked out okay.
Cut. Awesome.
I take it back, there are actually 3 paraglider stunts.
Okay, bailout.
Okay, this is
Now
stunt
try something even
22,
harder.
so this will be our 21st stunt. So after this, we will have 5 stunts to complete to win the contest. Okay, inverted Jenny, 350 feet off the ground, and
Should be a...
right wing.
What?
So Should have pretty good practice now getting inverted with this Jenny. And, oh, not the greatest there, but that works out okay. Alright, so this one we don't have to get close but not touch. We do actually have to hit it. This is another case where if it works out for you, the spotter plane view might be good, but I just doesn't work the best for me. Okay, we're at 350, coming down on 350 feet. This ought to be about perfect. And we're aiming just to the left of the target so that my right wing can hit it. This is the kind of stunt where if you do it right, you're like, well, that was pretty easy. But if you do it wrong several times in a row, you're like, how on earth do you do that? Okay. Looks like I got it that time.
Awesome.
And at this point, I should be pulling away in the Stunt Pilot of the Year contest. Yeah, we're over $10,000 ahead, so no real problems now.
Okay, bailout. Now try something even harder.
All right, land on a moving train. This one is tricky. So the train's at 64 miles an hour. We can't be more than 70 miles an hour when we land.
Wow.
I practiced this with several views, spotter plane view, tried zooming out, and it's just tricky no matter how you do it. I'm going to try it on the pilot view. This really just comes down to throttle control when you get close. You want to more or less match the plane's speed, but then as you come down more, you're going to have to pull up, and that's going to decrease your speed, and then you can stall or get out of control. It's just tricky. All right, I'm going to start decreasing speed now. About 60% throttle. Okay, good so far. Alright. Decrease throttle a little more.
Great flying, kid.
Okay, I made that look easy.
God.
It's not really that easy, and I don't always do it. I usually don't do it like that. Pretty nice. Okay. Back to the stunt coordinator.
Now try something
All right,
even
escape
harder.
from the UN. So this is one of the other paraglider. Yeah, the paraglider stunts. So you have to land on a boat. I think it's like a hovercraft coming down the river. Here's the tricky thing. It says don't hit it too fast.
See you what?
That is apparently not true. Okay, you can't head directly towards it, so you have to head to the right here. We'll go forward to increase our speed. Keep an eye out on the left side, but anyway, as far as I can tell, there's no actual speed restriction on this. You can hit it really fast. Okay, so now we just play it just right to where we go right onto it. Boom, 42 miles an hour is what I saw, 42 miles an hour, and just stuck right on there. I don't think that would happen in real life, but to win the Stunt Pilot of the Year contest, that's what you can do.
Okay, bailout. Now try
All
something
right,
even
we're
harder.
on scene 25. Okay, so we have to bomb a radar station. This one is a little tricky
See you when you're.
because
What?
you have to fly over the X and you can't be too low. So first thing I would recommend is turn left and increase your altitude. Otherwise it's going to say something like missed mark. And then wait to see if the missiles launch. Yep. Missiles launch. Don't worry about the missiles, they won't hit you. And you can use the bomb targeting view on this one, but like I said before, that just doesn't really work for me, so. I just drop bombs from the pilot view and it works out pretty well. Alright. Let's see what stunt we're on now.
Time for you to stop
Scene
flying those
26.
weenie stunts
So
and
I
do
believe we
something
just
with
have to
guts.
complete 2 more stunts and we'll be done. So land on top of a balloon,
See you when you're
maximum of
done.
13 miles an hour.
What?
Paraglider, it's very similar to the other stunt. The only thing that's different here is that the balloon is moving. It's moving up, whichever direction this would be, west. And so the balloon is already moving at something like 6 miles an hour. So you have to sort of stay with the balloon. Otherwise, at the last moment, you'll have to make quick adjustments, and then your speed might get too high, and you'll fail the stunt. Okay, we're getting close now. The balloon is about to cross the highway, and again, we'll just keep leading it a little bit. I seem to remember that maybe in the strategy guide they talked about how this is based on a real-world stunt, and how the guy landed on top of the hot air balloon, but it was really hot on there and he burned his legs or something. I don't know, maybe it's just an urban legend. But anyway, Stunt Island, you don't have to worry about getting hurt. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Seems like at the last moment sometimes it's things get a little crazy, so we'll see if that happens here. See, my speed is 8 miles an hour there. Need to keep that down, and if I go down towards the bottom of the screen, that helps lower it. So we'll keep it up here, and then at the last moment I'll be able to decrease speed. Ooh. There we go.
Great flying, kid.
Best view in Stunt Island.
Awesome.
Okay, did I calculate right that we have just one stunt to complete? Got to do 26 stunts.
Okay, bail
This
out.
will be stunt
Time
number
for you to
27,
stop
but
flying
we
those
skipped
weenie
number
stunts
16.
and do something with guts.
All right, recover from a stall. It's really easy, and there's actually a couple ways to do it. But the easiest way is to hit full power and then hit flaps if
when you're done.
once you go past the horizon, and that will stop it. If you don't use flaps, it's very hard or impossible to recover. If you use flaps, it's really a piece of cake. I think maybe you have to fly low to go under a collision window, but there's an alternate way to do this, and I'll run the film real quick. Okay, so here's the cheat way to fly this stunt. Instead of crashing, just hit E to eject, and now the aircraft turns into this paraglider, and because you never crashed, the program assumes that you completed it successfully.
Great flying, kid.
And recovered from the stall.
Great flying, kid.
Okay, are we gonna win? Is this it?
Cut. Awesome.
Let's see.
And the winner of the Stunt Pilot of the Year contest is Bailout.
Alright, so we did it. Do you want to save your pilot? Well, if you save your pilot, you can come back to the Stunt Pilot of the Year, the winner, anytime. So, yeah, I get my cool pink plane. I won the Stunt Pilot of the Year contest, and that's how it's done. I think maybe just in the past few years, I actually tried to do this. Continuing on with scene 28, I'm really glad I didn't have to do this for the contest, because yeah, it's a tricky one. So 6 towers,
Should be.
Bristol Bulldog, it's really tricky. I guess the only advice I have is dive down a little bit, decrease your speed, and climb some. That way it gives you a little time to turn, but the problem is the plane just wants to go back and forth, and it's really tricky. If you can somehow get in the right rhythm, you can complete the stunt okay, but it's always the last tower or two. It's like, come on, come back. Ooh. Can I do it? Oh! Did I do it? Let's see.
Cut.
Off to the left. Come on, I didn't crash and I went around all the towers. Oh, I don't know which view is best for this. I have no idea. It's just it's tricky if you're able to do it. For me, it's just luck mostly. All right. Okay, looking good so far. Alright, man. Ooh, oh, come on. Hey. Come on. Turn right. Come on. Is this gonna be it?
Awesome.
Hey, I did it on the second take. I'm pretty pleased with that. 29, fly under 2 bridges, 1,000 miles an hour. This one's pretty easy and fun.
What?
I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not too hard. Just get down a little bit early. Seems like I end up trying to hot dog it. And, ooh. See if I can go inverted. Nope. Make sure you keep it straight, don't get off to the sides. And just watch your altitude. Stay under the bridges, but not in the water. And save your hot dogging for afterwards, I guess. So bomb the 3 radar sites. This is also one of the trickier ones. So you have to bomb the 2 sites that are kind of right in a row, and then turn to the left, hit the 3rd one, but not hit the cathedral, and then pull out. And it's just tricky because it's hard to make that turn. It's hard to stay on target and get that 3rd radar site and not hit the cathedral. So I do this without the bomb site view. We will see how it works. Okay. Oh, I pulled up too high, I'm pretty sure. I didn't even get the 1st radar site. Okay. Heard the first 2 go. Oh. Alright, this is looking good. Did I get it? I got it. Alright. I will save this and show you a view of it. Alright, pull out of a dive. So you begin to pull out at no more than 400 feet, but you can't rise above 50 feet once you get below that. You can actually hit A for autopilot if you want to cheat a little bit and help do this stunt. Maybe I'll try that here in a bit. I went 10% flaps. Start to pull out. Got too low. Alright, 10% flaps again. I'm going to try hitting A here about maybe in here. Oh, whoa, that's way too high. Hey, how about that? Okay, this is a cheater's way to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it for real. Just to make sure you know I'm not a cheater. Okay, let's try a more gradual pull out. And okay, I think this is going to work. Now I add power back in. Keep that altitude low. We have to keep it close to the building as well, if I remember right. There's an invisible collision window here. Go around and see if that completes it. Missed mark. Missed mark. There's some kind of collision window or something that I'm missing there. I don't know if I'm too low or too high when I start. I might have to cut in a scene here of showing the collision window I'm missing. Maybe I'm too... I really don't know. I seem to recall in the guide saying you have to stay below that 40 feet as you go around the building.
Awesome.
Okay, I think that was the issue. Whew. I made it and didn't fail the stunt. Okay, we are now on the last stunt. And this one is a fun one. This is also one of my favorites. So we have to fly in between the skyscrapers at 1,000 miles an hour. and you start headed right for it, so you either have to turn right or left, because first, you can't turn that sharp, and second, your speed has to be higher than your starting speed. So we only have 500 miles an hour to start with. Need to get up to 1,000, so we will climb and gain some speed, and I'll show you in a minute why I like coming from this direction. But we'll see if we can get up to around 850 miles an hour and then head back towards the city. We're at full throttle. Okay, nicely lined up. We will be great on speed. What you can do is follow this mountain right on down, the edge of the mountain, and you'll be just right lined up. Just pull up, fly through. Miss that little black, dark gray building. Piece of cake. That's nice. We better take a look at that one. That's it for today. Thanks for taking a trip down memory lane with me and flying along. Maybe this will inspire you to dust off your copy of Stunt Island and play the game for yourself.